What is up guys, Wraec is here with a new video, and today I want to talk about the topic that I've mentioned in some videos but never really made a video on its own about, and that is really crit and how we are kind of getting too much of it at the moment. So the thing is, in this event I got confronted with it once again because, well, there is this one perk on the Phoenix, and you can see by the green arrow, by the way, that I can upgrade this guy, and this one perk is right here in the preview. When we scroll down, this one. After heroes are healed by monsters when they release basic attacks or active skills to target with burn, increases crit for the damage dealt, this time by 30%. By the way, they should really call this crit chance or crit damage. I assume they mean crit chance here because later on they specifically refer to crit damage as crit damage. So yeah, it's kind of the thing, but it's another 30% crit chance. And the thing about this is you have 30% here, you have another 10% over here, and so this thing alone grants you 40% crit chance. In this game, the maximum amount of crit chance that you can get is 100%. At 100%, every single hit that you inflict will be a critical hit unless it hits a Ferrocene Vessel or a hero protected by Ferrocene Vessel. But you will, in general, at 100% crit chance, always deal a critical hit. So at that point, the question of course remains, well, isn't it good to deal a critical hit? Well, yeah, in general it is. In general, we deal more damage because we get our crit damage on there, and that is just the better way to deal damage. There's just one exception to it, and that is in our enabled. So if we check that out, by the way, Grimoire Infusion tier 1 here on this one, kind of cool. We have a skill called Balance Strike. And this Balance Strike says if the basic attack or active skill crits, restore self HP by 15% of dealt damage, otherwise deals an extra 30% of damage. And this extra 30% of damage, I can tell you, with the scaling and everything in there, feels like a lot more than 30%. And so it is one of the major sources of damage in this game is to run Balance Strike. You run a little bit of extra risk because, of course, well, you are not protected by Unbending Will. If there's an enemy that can one-shot you, well, they aren't hindered by Unbending Will. They will just straight up do so, you will die, and that is about it. But if you manage to run the right RNG, if you manage to evade the enemy attacks and then do an attack with Balance Strike, well, then there is a chance you deal a whole lot of damage. So this has been a staple in like all of PvE, in all of the boss fights, in everything really, to make hits hit hard. And the condition for that is, of course, well, that we don't crit. And it is not entirely true because, well, we can crit. Any active skill that you run has multiple hits. We see, for example, here deals 1200% damage. That is one hit already. And if the target HP is lower than 40%, we have another 2 hits there from that. And then we have Demon King's Might. And if we kill the enemy, there are even more hits. So there are multiple hits, and sometimes there are hits that you don't even really see. For example, this is a hit. Inflicting Fear Abyssal Gaze to all targets. Somehow DH managed to make this a hit. It hits all enemies in the same row. Is just the way this works. So out of all the hits that an active skill inflicts, one has to not crit. So the crit is calculated for every single hit separately, meaning from all the hits that you get, there is also the chance that a singular hit does not crit. If we go into PvE and just run our LFA against our Gustin stage, should probably be able to see this fairly easily, that when we hit this Gustin over here, probably run this a little bit, give me a second, our PvE has more attack than our LFA, that is kind of crazy. So let's slow this down a little bit, and then once the LFA attacks we will see that, hopefully, unless he dies. Might die. Okay, and there are multiple hits, and you see there are white numbers and there are orange numbers. The white numbers are hits that didn't crit, the orange numbers are hits that did crit. In the white numbers there are also passive damage numbers. Sometimes a hero has a passive that triggers on attack or on a certain condition. This passive damage will also not crit. So keeping that in mind, we want to have, well, as many critical hits as possible because, well, the thing is, we want to have one hit that doesn't crit, and other than that, every single other hit is really supposed to crit because with crit we obviously deal more damage. And the fine thing about Balanced Strike now is it multiplies with all of that. So as long as there is a single hit that doesn't crit, we will get the damage multiplier of Balanced Strike for all the hits, even for the ones that did crit. So what you want to do is you want to find the right percentage, because obviously at 100% every single one of our hits would crit, thus Balanced Strike wouldn't activate. So that's not good. Then you could say, okay, then just do 90%. But the problem is, well, we don't really have a whole lot of hits. Let's say we only have 4 hits. At 90% probability, the chance that all of those hits would crit is still roughly 65%. So that's not really good. You want to make it reasonably likely that one hit doesn't crit. So with all those calculations, and we'll keep that part to the side because I know you guys don't really like calculations for the most part, but Icar actually did it and was like 50-55% is the optimal amount of crit that you want. I currently have 20% on this guy right here, but we have additional buffs as well. For example, in Void Campaign, the Treasure Train already delivers us with a load of crit chance buffs. I don't know specifically for Void Campaign, but for many heroes and many things there are already crit chance buffs. For example, right here we have it for Assassins, 22% there, which is already insane. In Void Campaign we have 25.5% in my tree, in my train at least. So there is already a very big amount there. And that is something you have to keep in mind. So now we already have that. We have 25% there. We have 20% on the hero already through other treasures. And that brings us to already 45%, which is reasonably close to the 55. So with a few attempts, I think that is already good enough crit, because every other crit that we could skill and that we could make use of for our LFA, well, we could run a crit stone. Obviously I don't even have one anymore because, well, the reason is so bad. We could run an artifact for crit. I mean, for a long time the Punisher staff, that is the Ific version of that, by the way, was used for that. There we have 20% crit. This, by the way, increases your crit pretty quickly to 100%. It's a horrible artifact. Or we could go with the Enable. There is the Enable for crit. This is a 35% chance, 35% increase in crit as well, bring us from 20 to 55, which is very good actually. It's a very good amount of crit, but in our specific situation, well, not really desirable, because we would be at 55%, then we would get another 27, and with that we would already be at like 82%, so that is way too much already. And then we have abilities that increase crit, and for example right here crit duration is 4 rounds, and we have 24% there. So with just one basic attack, if we were to run the crit imprint and go into Voice Campaign, would already be at 100% crit basically. And then comes Phoenix, and then we really see the problem. The 10% here, I mean, kind of okay still. In Void Campaign that would bring us now to like 55%, so would actually be good to have a 10% crit here in our specific Void Campaign situation. If we run 20% crit, get the buff from Treasure Train, don't get the buff from our basic attack, and get the buff from Phoenix, then we are actually at a pretty good amount of crit. The problem is, once we go into the monster info, and if we really get this 30% crit chance, that would all destroy everything, because that would bring us to nearly 90% crit chance in Void Campaign. So getting 40% crit chance from just the monster is something that we really don't have the room for. You can make it in some game modes, like for example in Flame Shrine we don't really have the buffs from Treasure Train. There is no Treasure Train for Flame Shrine yet, so we can get some crit and make it useful. But you don't really want to, because you can get it from other sources and you don't really want to destroy other game modes with it. Nonetheless, and that is something that we were going to do, I want to test it. I want to see how bad it is. There is the rebirth function in the monster. It is going to cost me gold, by the way, interestingly enough. They never made it so that the rebirth function is really free. You don't get the gold back that you invested into the Phoenix. And I'm a bit worried that we might even not get the new resources back, but I'm fully prepared to do a little bit of a support ticket and work this out with them in that case. But we have to see. So yeah, so this is something that we are going to do, and this will hopefully be rather interesting and rather insightful. So the thing is, I kind of want to go ahead and set up Flame Shrine. Okay, very, very basic setup that we are running, just with the Heart Watcher, with Olivia. We are going to run Vespera, which I still think is pretty cool to kind of avoid that the Heart Watcher marks get purified, and gives a few buffs as well. And during the time she was broken was of course even more insane. 381 mil attack on the LFA, 3074 speed, and we are running 55% crit chance at the moment. So right now this would be pretty fine. We can make one attack like this. Then we have Freya over here, and at 3315 speed, 291 million attack. Vespera a little bit slower, and then we have a 223 million on the Scarlet Queen Halora. This is going to be our setup, this is going to be what we run, and we're just going to go ahead and we're going to give it a little bit of a run here against this wonderful Flame Shrine boss. We're going to see how much damage we do. I mean, the damage against those bosses, I have to say, varies quite a bit, so getting like a reasonable number here and a reasonable detail how much damage we can do will be pretty difficult. I have seen variations of like times 10 or even more. So it is fairly difficult for us to assess the damage that we do here. We do want to kind of keep an eye out for the crits as far as we can. Like you can see the pinks here, also white numbers, but we want to see what LFA does when he attacks, how the white numbers look, how the numbers look there. So we check it and we see a reasonable amount still of white numbers, so it is pretty alright. A little bit more than you optimally wanted to on this hit, but like you really, if you look at game modes and you kind of want to go for the high roll, it is not necessarily the case that you want to make it so that there are rolls where you crit, where you only crit. Like it's really also very important for you to avoid having those attacks where every single hit is a crit. Or to make this likely. And for LFA especially, you want to leave a little bit more wiggling room, so that's why we end up at like those low numbers with 50-55%. You want to leave a little bit more wiggling room because he will sometimes just do a basic, and you don't want that single basic to destroy your entire run, because that can happen. He will just get crit. Even more insane, by the way, if you have like a DJN on your team and he starts crit multiplying, or an enemy that gives you a crit debuff, because, well, now we also have the special Purify, of course, from Spectre, and I think it was also actually part of the new enables once those are released. So then we get the special Purify that turns attribute reduction into a buff. Pretty good damage overall there. It was absolutely insane damage, by the way, guys. My god. My guild, and there's nobody here listening to us, I hope. My guild was complaining about this because I may or may not allegedly have deleted 2 bosses on day 1, and then half of the guild didn't get to attack. And apparently 30 minutes after the boss was released, they went around and checked and didn't find themselves with any bosses. Well, we really have to run Control Purify. My god, those Seal of Lights. Permanent Seal of Light here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, we have to run Control Purify. Otherwise, we don't get any damage. Wow, this has destroyed the damage. But we're still at 1 point. It was 18 because, well, we kind of did insane damage at the beginning. Okay, I would say we do 2 things now. First thing that we want to do is we want to run to the treasure train. And the treasure train, I actually do have some monster treasures. So we have 14 monster treasures here that we can use, and also a few guild treasures. What we're hoping for is actually not really this guy, because this is, yeah, I mean, this is the one that you need to upgrade the monster further, so to get more abilities. I mean, if we go for the upgrade, then we could kind of also get more of this. So I don't mind. I don't mind getting like the pink one, but really like the orange ones are the ones where we really want to see progress. And I mean, the red ones also aren't too bad. If you get this one to 4-star, I certainly won't complain. Isn't too far away. The thing is, those bloody treasure train tickets here are super expensive. They have them in this new pack here. Where you get 25 for 100 USD, absolutely crazy, or you have to wait for Starry Gem Mall, and there once a month you get a good amount actually, so don't really want to complain about this, but it's once a month and seems so far away, and is rather annoying for that cause. Then beyond that, you have to get like the treasures obviously, which you can get today. It's like a little bit of the monster event. They somehow redesigned it towards that. And you can get the monster materials in the rarity gift box. They are right here, plus the tickets also, so it's pretty good. Rarity gift boxes for monsters. Then we have Feast Package, where I think there were some in there. Yeah, you're gonna get the monster tickets here as well. So like, if you are lucky, you can get this. If you are unlucky, you get the bloody normal treasure selection chest pink that I can't do anything with. And last time we were... yeah, it wasn't that nice. I think we got this... we bought 4 and got this like twice, and then lucked out and got 100 coupons, which was insane. So yeah, those are in here. Which is, I don't like those gambling chests. If this was at least like a pink treasure selection chest for the monster stuff, okay, but yeah. And then you can get the materials also here, and this is a little bit more guaranteed. Probably get a little bit more of that stuff with the red chest, so that is pretty cool. I'm not going to wail for monsters this time because, well, I still consider it rather weak, which we can go over in a second. And other than that, yeah, it's just rather expensive. So it's something where I can probably save a little bit of money. Here I just need the orange one that looks like a cave. This one. So this is actually pretty good. Even though it seems like such small progress and like such small thing, but it's like, it's the last treasure that I need. So anything that I can get here, even 3 shards are pretty good, because once we get a full one, obviously we want to get closer to maxing it. So treasure train, monster treasures right now. Let's get into it. Let's do the 10 bomb and let's see if we can get some red, some orange, or some pink. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Starting off, this is not from the series, but with the full pink one there, who am I to complain? So that is pretty nice. Those are all not from the series, sadly. Yeah, this is the problem here. I mean, we got the full pink one, so we can't really say anything against this, but you get a lot of treasures in here that are just not from the series, and then your treasure tickets really feel wasted, at least in my case, because, well, we already have like all of the other treasures that we could get from this, so it's every time it's bad. This is good. This is from the series, actually. So a few shards there, but I mean, the full ones were better, would give us some progress, but we take it. We take it, ladies and gentlemen. We take it and accept it with gratitude. Let's see if we can get the upgrade now. We can get the upgrade to 6-star now on the monster thing, which doesn't really grant us a whole lot. Maybe we can go over this as well. So all of those treasures here in the Monster Soul pack, they only give you all damage dealt for Phoenix. And even with everything together, I assume that Phoenix is not going to deal very good damage. So we have to get this one more time, then we're already at 4-star, which is kind of insane compared to the rest. Like, if you look at that, we could get the one from event, could immediately go to 4-star. And the insane thing about this is, like, if we go into Phoenix now, once you have the 5-star treasure, there's really no treasure requirement that you have to fulfill anymore, so you can go to max level. So with 4-star, you should go to like here. So you can nearly go to max level, which is pretty insane. So yeah, we are going to do this upgrade now. It is pretty bad at telling you what you really get. Like the Soul Pack Liberation enhancement at the beginning, I completely overlooked them. And only then I understood, okay, yeah, there is something here. And we kind of have to check this out. So, level upgrade. Cool animation. I like the animation. Still the bug in here, or like the wrong text. Also restores 4 HP to 5 million random allies. And the thing that you really want to get, and that it is good for to upgrade, I would say, is this damage against burning targets. Because that goes up, and you can see it just went to 92%. Which is pretty crazy, which is pretty nice. Gold still only... Oh, it's pretty cheap. It's pretty cheap still. Monster materials here as well. Like the levels in between, they don't really cost a whole lot. I love how this switches around. Now it's 8 million random allies. Good. Can heal a few more people. And yeah, we now got this. So this it doesn't show you that it gives that to you, but it does. Next one would be the 4-star now with 12,000 of that material. That is absolutely crazy, by the way. And yeah, sadly we didn't get any upgrades here, so you always need like a treasure here. Here those are the orange ones, those are the red ones. So yeah, this is the way this works. So now we have that. The question is, so what we want to do is we kind of want to go ahead and we want to swap all of those probably to control purify. I never can remember what the puppets really do. For some of them it's really that you want attribute reduction purify. For some control purify is better. For others yeah, you really I don't think there was a problem now. Mark Purify was also for one, because that there's one that throws the 4Cs marks at you, and they have like all of this effect that when you reach like stage or around 10, that then they suddenly start really going ahead. So we didn't adjust the crit on LFA for now. So what that should result in is we should get more crit than we need. We should have too much crit. We should have too much crit, ladies and gentlemen. And what that means is you will see probably, depends, the monster has to heal us. We have to get a monster here. Right now this is not active, so we shouldn't really have a problem. But once the monster comes down and heals us, at that point, so next turn, beginning of next turn, we should see a heal on LFA, which we also get one from SQH, so this will be a little bit annoying to spot. Maybe we can slow it down. We have to live through the pings here. Wait a few seconds. A few more pings. Absolutely insane heal here. I think it was from Olivia from the mark there. I always sack small abilities that you forget. So now we should get a heal, and I think we got it. And we should have an insane crit buff now that makes our crit too high. Let's see. There were still white numbers there, so that was still okay. Or they were from the passive, that is the question here. Yeah, this will be a little bit tedious to test, because for this game mode, for Flame Shrine, we can make it work. Even if we get 30% crit there. And even if it's 30% crit. Which is still a question, by the way. I mean, I said it's crit because I say, well, when I say crit, I mean crit chance. And when I want to say crit damage, I say crit damage. So that is the thing here. But it is conditional after hero is healed and attacks a monster, so I doubt it's going to appear as just a random attribute buff. And the question, of course, that remains with that, is it really crit chance? Or did they maybe mean crit damage and didn't really translate it? What is it that they meant here? And yeah, we are going to test it. We are going to test how devastating it is. I think that is probably going to be rather annoying, because I have to like check out all of these fights and check every time LFA does a skill to see whether or not we still have white numbers there and if we still do good damage. For now, it doesn't seem too impressive in terms of damage what we do, but as I said, it's like absolutely random. Also depends on whether or not Olivia decides that the boss needs to be shrunk. So now we have a shrunk boss. That is pretty good. And the annoying thing, of course, is even if it was an attribute buff, we wouldn't see it because there are like 1,000 on here. So let's see the damage. That's still okay. A little bit low energy restoration there. Seal of Light coming down. We have Purify. It is a CC. I can already see that the energy wasn't too high on our heroes there. It's insane. Some of those abilities are insane. The passive Seal of Light infliction that those enemies have going is absolutely devastating. It is really absolutely devastating because it destroys our energy recovery, destroys our passive skills, it destroys our buffs. You can see, did you see that? We have mirrors on every single one of those heroes. We have 5 mirrors going on. He still didn't get any energy. That is like the power of Seal of Light. Madness. So yeah, I think the takeaway that I wanted to give you guys from this video was, for the one part, that I really wanted to point this out, that there is this problem of crit creep, of stat creep in general for some stats. It is not really a problem with something like precision armor break or something. With armor break, I mean, it kind of destroys the armor as a whole, like the mechanic of armor. You don't really want to scale into armor when this is the case. But on the other hand, it is positively connotated by most players. Most players would say, well, it's great that I have more armor break because that allows me to deal more damage. This is actually a difference. For crit chance, it's a difference because at one point you will start doing less damage. And I think with this huge crit thing, we are now reaching this state. So let's just do a quick other attempt. I just want to see whether or not we have the same damage here. It is still rather low. Does it get higher when I just reduce the crit? Let's try that. Let's just unequip the crit one. The problem with this example, by the way, it isn't one of the truly devastating game modes. Well, when we are in this game mode, funny enough, by the way, that they have the old UI here, just noticing that, In this game mode, we can of course just remove one stat, we can remove one effect. What do we have skilled here? Crit damage, skill damage, all damage. Okay, yeah, good. Good. We can just remove one stat and be relatively fine. In other game modes, that is not really the case. In Void Campaign, we just can't avoid it. In Void Campaign, we have the ton of crit from every single game mode. Even if you remove the crit enable, that is not enough. Let's see what the damage numbers say here. We probably killed off one boss, didn't we? We didn't even kill off this one boss. Let's watch this last one together. I just wanna see it quickly through. I won't slow down, so it shouldn't take super long. And also tell me down in the comments what you think of the puppets. I heard this statement from many people now, and they said, well, Wraec, I kind of wish we had the old bosses back. The old bosses were just a little bit more unique. And I kind of agree. Like the old bosses, you were always like, oh, who is it? Who's going to be the boss this week? And you kind of wanted to have Sigmund because, well, obviously you have the faction advantage here of Graveborn. Okay. Well, the AFK Journey viewers, shout out to them. Shadow against Fortress. Was like a little bit Graveborn. Interesting. Because it obviously had to Ithaca and wanted them to deal more damage. So that was like the main thing there. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. For those puppets, I mean, I'm fine with the puppets. I think it's a little bit lazy design. They could have made like a unique character for that. Wouldn't have been like, it doesn't need to be a hero. You can just make like an interesting new one. Like make an enemy design. Make it, I don't know, it doesn't need to be the puppet. It can be a human knight or something. I get the idea, like Flame Shrine becoming a little bit of the testing ground, and thus it being kind of alright to put like a puppet in there. But at the same time, I kind of feel like it was a little bit of a lazy decision, wasn't it? It was a little bit of the lazy decision. So, a little bit tough. Got a nice kill there. It feels better already. It feels better already without the crit, if I'm honest. Might be RNG. We have to test more, but like, all regards, for all questions, like, I kind of think it already feels better. Let's see the next hit. We have a shrunk boss there. Not too big, but pretty decent. We get Shane Olivia's shrinks now on the right one, though. On the right boss. So that is the thing. And of course, one boss gone actually makes this substantially easier, which is like, once the first boss is gone, and this you kind of start to steamroll. But yeah, I think a unique character design would have been still pretty cool. Oof. Oi! That was big damage, ladies and gentlemen. Big damage. Yeah. Shout out to Utopia. Not having a lot of time with this boss once again. I'm very sorry. I mean, we were experimenting. It's not like I was intentionally just going in there and deleting bosses. Can we please get the first boss shrunk again? Like if you don't get the shrink on the boss, like the damage is pretty much gone. Oh my god, against those guys, even running Olivia would have been a nice idea. PDE. Getting rid of some of this CC, maybe LBM even. Let's see, big damage. Okay, not big damage, but it's still like the display cap. We still have the 1E plus 18 probably. There were huge hits in there. There's a lot more even. So if you consider that, we had the good hit before we upgraded. We had 2 bad hits after we upgraded and didn't change the crit, and now we had 1 good hit there. Is this like 100% proof that this is like a big problem? No, not really. But at the same time, it's indication towards what I thought. That this is crit chance, that this is bad for the most part, and that is not really what you want. Interestingly enough, at the beginning, like if you are a new player, crit is pretty nice actually. It was one of the things that was always like a little bit lost for normal heroes. Because if you had like a normal hero, and I don't want to use an assassin right now, let's take like an overrun. You often didn't really have too much crit and crit damage, which is why crit stones and everything had such an importance and were so good, because we were used to like running those, and then you had your crit set up. Why does she have so much crit? Does she have a crit roll? She doesn't. Why does she have so much crit? Passive step, I guess. But yeah, the thing is, so there it could be decent, but like for an established player, I said just change it to holy damage. Honestly, Imagine 30% more holy damage. It would not be like the chase thing, but it at least wouldn't be bad. It at least wouldn't be bad. Or make it 50% holy damage. Then make it cool. And then we can talk about this. Then we have like a decent amount there. We also have too many sources of holy damage if I think about it now. And make it something else. Make it go away. I don't like it. I honestly just want to upgrade it a little bit more. And just wanna enjoy upgrading it. It shouldn't be the case that like you really at this point, and when you are 240, that it is really a big consideration whether or not you want to upgrade the Phoenix, or if you just want to stop at that point and just keep it there, because 240 Phoenix seems to be the optimal point for it. And then you only really want to upgrade, yeah, your monster aura, because all of that is pretty much fine. Even though crit damage is a little bit insane. Like if you have max monster, look at that. There's another 40% crit damage. Then you have another 29% crit damage here, 69% crit damage, like half of what you need already, which is a little bit crazy as well. And that is always the problem once you increase like stats, like precision, holy damage, crit damage. Always, as soon as you start to increase stuff that is not attack and HP or speed, you really get into points where it's becoming kind of useless or becoming like kind of capped at that point, because they are power creeping all the time. They kind of want to increase every single stat, but every time they throw something like this around and give us a new source for this, it becomes kind of uncontrolled. And we had this, interesting enough, we had this video like years ago, I feel like. When they released Treasure Train, I pointed out that for some stats that could become a problem. But we are now closer to this, and we have the first case, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Tell me your opinion about the Phoenix down below. Did you upgrade him? Do you enjoy Phoenix? Do you think it was a worthwhile upgrade? I feel like for the most part, it's kind of something where I feel like it's money thrown out of the window at the moment. Especially when you compare when you compare that Phoenix and if you buy monster treasures and everything, and then you compare it to Primal Grimoire. And to check that there are like 26 million attack in there that scale with your awakening, it becomes a little bit insane. Well, anyway, if you would still want to enjoy some of those wonderful treasures and want to upgrade your Phoenix or get you some singles or whatever and need some contract starry or some starry gems, then head over to SG Hub down in the description where you can get some wonderful starry gems for a very, very low price. For example, 20,000 starry gems for 106 USD. Absolute top prices on the market. The best service, and of course, as I'm in there, pretty much trusted, so they won't be scammed at all. Just the only source where you can really reputably say that, so that is an absolutely nice thing. And I hope you enjoyed that. We had a lot of customers over there already that were very happy with the service. So if you want to check that out, support that as well, then click the link down in the description to SG Hub, join the Discord server, and open a ticket if you want to buy some starry gems. And with that, wish you a great day. We'll see us in the next one.